One of the really great things about being able to print your own product at home is that you get to use specialty materials. If you were just doing print on demand, then you're bound to whatever the providers offer, which is usually direct-to-garment printing. So you don't get to do things like puff or glitter or metallic. The other day, I picked up some gold glitter heat transfer vinyl from Vinyl Fun. I haven't tried glitter heat transfer vinyl in years. The last time I tried it, it wasn't very good. It was hard to work with. It was difficult to weed. And I know things have gotten a lot better. So I picked some up to try, give it another shot. And it's St. Patrick's Day. My daughter wanted a St. Patrick's Day shirt. So I thought this was a good chance to design a new shirt, press it with the glitter heat transfer vinyl, and see how it all comes out. And maybe it's something that I'll start offering in my own shop. So let's design a shirt and press it and see how it comes out. All right, the first thing I want to do is make my clover graphic. So what I'm going to do is take my pen tool, and then I'm just going to make 3 evenly spaced anchor points in a row. And I like to pull a ruler right to the center here, just so I know where this one goes. We're going to pull that down and turn this into a stroke. And then we're going to add as much line weight to the stroke till we get something that looks like this. We're going to drag this up a little bit. And then we're going to turn this basically into a heart sort of a shape. So we're going to make a round cap on that. We're going to end up tweaking this like a few times just to make sure we have this exactly how we want it. So I'm going to start with kind of a short and wide shape like that. We're going to drag this over here. And the cool thing about Illustrator is you can always just keep making copies of things and playing with them. And since it's vectors, it doesn't really take up a whole lot of memory. So I can make so many copies of this and keep them so small because they're scalable. So once we have this first shape, what I'm going to do here is select that, object, expand. Okay. And now it's turned this from this path with an outline stroke to a solid object. So if I go to my vector preview here, this is what it would look like if I cut it with my vinyl cutter. This is what the first one would look like, just those lines. So with that done, what I'm going to do now is select everything and then switch to the direct selection tool. And then you'll see these little circle points here in the middle of everything. Here, first thing I'm going to do is just take this bottom one and select this bottom anchor point and round that out a little bit. Then what I would like to do is round this out here. So what I'm looking at is there's 3 anchor points at the top. So with my direct selection tool, I'm just clicking and dragging across those. And then I'm taking that little circle curve thing and dragging this up a little bit. And we'll see if we can make a decent clover shape out of that. So I'm just going to make a copy of this and then rotate it. Then these are a little too close together. So what I would want to do is stretch this part out a little bit and see how that looks. Then intersect those. And then we're going to make another copy, rotate that, intersect those. I'll try one more. Make a select all of these. Then actually, let's see if we can. What we're going to do is make sure these 2 are centered. Make sure these 2 are centered to each other. Then I can group these and group these. Let's see. And group these. We're going to make a note of the center point here. Just make sure these are centered. Okay, so with those centered, I'm just going to rotate this like that. Clear the guides. And now we have a clover leaf, a 4-leaf clover. And then we can add, what we can do is use the pen tool here and add a stem. We'll just make the stem shape however we think. And we want to switch this so it's filled in and not an outline. And this one we can keep messing with. Like we probably want our stem here to start out thinner at the top and then widen out at the bottom. So that's just a matter of getting used to the pen tool and how it works. So we'll say this is good enough for now. We can move this off to the side. Then sometimes it helps to zoom out and see what you're doing. And then we're going to make our design. And I want to just do a circle type of design, which is one of the things that I usually do. So what I'm going to do is use the ellipse tool. and hold down Shift to make a perfect circle. Hold down Alt to drag it from the center out. And then we just need to figure out, this is going to be the widest circle. So I'm going to switch this to the outline with no fill. I'm going to copy this, paste it in place. So if you go right here to edit, paste in place, which is Shift Control V, it's going to just paste that right exactly where you put it. Then we're going to move this down. And this is going to be our design. And we'll make this smaller. So we're going to have 2 outlines here. So we'll make these, we'll give these a 15-point stroke to begin. And then we're going to have text in the middle and then text going through the center of the circle. So we're going to paste that back in again in place. And then we're just going to try to center this as much as possible. And then once we have this like relatively centered, we're going to use the scissor tool. So scissors, which is shortcut is C, and then we're going to clip this anchor point on the left and this anchor point on the right. And that is going to give us 2 halves of a circle. Makes it a lot easier to put your text on there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to type up here, prone 2, and then we're going to make sure this is centered. And then with the direct selection tool, you'll see these little kind of handles that you can drag, and we want to make sure that those are to the edges of our path. And then we don't want our text sitting on top of this path. So with that selected, type on the path, type on the path options. We're going to switch that to center. Okay. And now that is directly in the center. We need to change some of these characters here because this does not look good, but we'll make this a little bit smaller first. We're just going to scale that down. And then we can individually change these glyphs. We can see what we have to work with here. We might want to change the typeface too, just depending. But with this Bookmania typeface, every single character has different glyphs that you can use to change the look of the type. So you just go here, and with the character selected, it'll either show you the glyphs at the bottom, or you can pop open the glyphs panel and see the specific glyphs for either the letter that you have selected or for the entire typeface at once. And since this text is on a circle, we want to keep this as simple as possible. We don't want to use anything too crazy. Otherwise, it's going to start dipping into the lines here. It's going to make things look uneven. So we're just going to keep this, like I said, pretty simple. We just want to make sure that when we change a letter, when it shows up again, we want to make sure we have the same exact letter for both. So you'll notice this O and this O do not match. So I need this O here. And then this T, this looks like a lowercase T, like a small caps. But we want an uppercase T here. And I might change this typeface because I don't really like the way that this looks. But for now, we'll just keep this here. All right, so it's going to say prone to shenanigans and tomfoolery. And you'll notice when I typed my text onto this line, it came in upside down. So first thing I'm going to do is just drag this handle to the edge. And then you'll see there's a handle in the center here. And with my direct selection tool, I'm just going to click on that handle and drag it upward. Then the same thing for this one, type on a path, type on a path options, and then align to path center. Okay. And that is centered right there. So we definitely are going to change this typeface because I probably want something I can do all caps with. Actually, this doesn't look bad at all. All right, so we'll change this to all caps, and then we're going to change some of these characters just to more standard characters. And then we're going to work on getting our kerning a little bit better. When you start putting type on a path like this, the kerning can get really weird. And now I'm noticing that we're not exactly even here in our spacing. So we're just going to take this circle and then I'm holding down Shift and Alt. So it drags it perfectly constrained and it is also dragging out from the center. Then we're just going to kind of visually center it there. Now we can select everything and make this a little smaller. And then I think these lines are a little bit thicker than I want them. So let's make these 12 point and see how that looks. That's not bad at all. This ampersand here. Okay, so now we're just going to type out shenanigans. We're going to change our typeface. And then the cool thing about Illustrator in Photoshop, all the Adobe apps, is I can go to my character here and then sort this by the type. So if I wanted a script, I can just sort this by script typefaces. And this is only going to show me different scripts. And I want something somewhat meaty, something with some weight to it, and something that looks really nice. And this is like probably one of the most involved parts, is picking out your typeface. All right, so then the next thing I'm going to do here is go to my Pathfinder, I'm selecting this clover shape. Then I'm just going to the Pathfinder and using this merge. That way now it's all one cuttable shape. And we'll see what this looks like with some clovers in the area. And we can mirror this one. Okay, that way they're not all just going the same way. And then we could also skew them a little bit, just so we're not always having the same exact thing everywhere. Okay, I'm going to need to lock this. The one kind of pain in the butt thing sometimes about these typefaces in Illustrator is they have this huge bounding box, and it makes them really hard to work around. So I'm actually just going to move this to the side for now. We're going to make some small clovers here. We'll reflect that. We want to maybe rock the whole thing. And then the thing about it, when I rock the text, or when I rotate this whole thing and have it on an angle, with this script on an angle, what I want to do is grab the shear tool, select that, and then just kind of slant it a little bit. What I'm going to do is select this text for now and then lock it, object, lock selection, and then I can move these things around without having to worry about running into that bounding box issue. Drag this over here, make this bigger, move this over here, rotate it, and we'll take this one and bring it over here. Same. We want to space these out as much as possible and make them look as good as we can with that spacing. But maybe this one will look better up here. Then maybe we'll do few more small ones down here. All right, so what I want to do is reflect that one more time. So now we're going to unlock everything. And then what I might want to do here is give this a little more weight. So one thing I can do is go back to my appearance, and we're going to give this a white fill, a black stroke. Just make sure that's selected first. A white fill, we'll change the stroke to black. And then we're going to make a copy of this. So I'm just going to hold down Alt and drag this over a little bit here. Maybe just drag it straight down. And then we're going to move this back so it's behind. Then with both of these, then actually what I need to do first is change these into outlines. So first I'm turning this into an outline, then object, expand appearance. One more time to object expand. Okay. Try it one last time. And then with all of that selected, then we're going to go to our Pathfinder and merge. So I'll get rid of this first copy I made. I'm going to do the same exact thing, just make another copy, move this to the back, select both of those. Then we're going to Object, Blend, Blend Options. I'm going to turn this to Specified Steps, make that 50 steps. And then we're going to make a blend. So Object, Blend, Make. And this gives us more of a depth type of look to this. But you know what, actually, we're going to undo that and move this up just a little bit, because I think that was too much. So we're going to make that blend again. And now I think that looks quite a bit better, but there's one more step that I want to do. First, I need to move this up so that it's not covering that. Then we're going to need to make this clover a little bit smaller. Then can we make another copy? All right, that's fine. Okay, so what I need to do here is make sure my blend is selected. Then we're going to expand that, object, expand. Okay. We might need to do this a couple times. It doesn't look like we actually do. Okay, so perfect. If you go object, expand, and that those options come up, try it one more time. And if those options come up again, then you're going to need to redo it. So with that expanded, then we're just going to merge with the Pathfinder. And this is going to take a second. All right, now I'm going to make a copy of this. So I'm just copying, Command-C, Control-C, depending on which platform you're on. And then I'm going to... Actually, what I'm going to do here is go to my layers, make a new layer, and then paste in place on that new layer. Then I can lock this first layer. And that just gives me the ability to only work on that new copy. So I'm going to select everything white. Actually, I'm going to select everything here. And then fill it all in with black or white. Then we're going to go to the Pathfinder and merge those. Appearance, we're going to add a stroke here, but we're going to add a white stroke. This is doing is it's adding a white outline and it's breaking up this black. So this just needs to be behind our original. So we're going to go back to layers one more time, unlock this layer. We're going to lock this layer. Then we're going to select our original type here, and we're going to send this to the front. Let's see if that works. Bring to front. Nope. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is actually put these all on the same layer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this text, or I'm going to cut it. So Control C or Control X or Command X. We're going to make one more layer. We're going to paste that back in place. Turn on this layer. And then you can see now this second layer we were working on with the outline. That is the one, it's breaking up this text here. I mean, it's breaking up these black outlines, so it's not going straight through. And we can either way you think looks good, you can have it turn completely off like that, or you can have the outlines on. And I'm trying to decide, I actually might keep it with the outlines. So, I'm just going to trash that layer. Everything that's black here is going to be gold HTV, and then everything that's white is going to be the shirt. So what I'm going to do is make a new artboard. And this is a way to keep your art intact. And we're going to drag this over. I'm going to select all of this. Go Object, Expand, okay, do it one more time, and then we're going to merge with the Pathfinder. And what I'm going to do next is open up a new document and move this over here, just so we can see what this looks like. So we're going to select this white, and I'm using direct selection, selecting white, select same fill color, okay. Then I'm going to make a new rectangle with the rectangle tool. Make sure there's no stroke and no fill. Then I'm going to select same fill color. And that's just going to show me if there's any paths that don't have any color to them. And I don't want those because when I'm using my vinyl cutter, it's going to cut twice because I don't see that there's paths there. So then I'm just going to delete those. And now you'll see when I select this, all we're seeing is the black. So we'll make this like a yellow color just so we can see what this is going to look like. So it's going to be gold and it's going to be glitter. So we can't really do much about that here, but we can see what this is going to look like. Look about like that, which I don't think is too bad. I could always change that, though. I'm trying to decide how exactly I want to do this. What I was thinking is maybe having this be an outline and then the text be gold. Maybe I still will. All right, let's try it one more time. So what I want here is to make all of this. We're going to make this fill a random color first. And then we're going to make these the same color. And then this is just going to make it a little bit easier to work with because then we can see all the differences. All right, so then we're going to make this black. And then we would just need an outline here. And do this. We're going to copy all of this. We're going to paste it on the layer beneath. We're going to fill that in with black. We're going to merge it with the Pathfinder. We're going to add a black stroke, and then we're going to add a white stroke behind that. Add one more stroke. We're going to make this one white, make it a little bit wider here. We're going to make this white. So we're going to select same fill color, and we're going to make that white. Then we're going to copy this, bring it into a new document. And that's just going to allow us to do all of the stuff we did previously to make sure that this is cut ready. So Object, Expand Appearance, Object Expand, one more time, Pathfinder. All right, then we're going to select the white with the direct selection tool, then select same fill color. All right, we want the white, select same fill color. We're going to make sure we don't have any colorless, filled in or stroked paths. So select same fill color, get rid of those. All right, so now I'm just going to copy this over to this document. We have two versions, and these are the two different versions. And I like the new version that we just made with this filled in properly. So we're not just doing a reverse on the letters. But one thing that I just noticed that I messed up was I went over this Y. So I'm just going to fix that real quick. And now with that done, we're just going to make sure we have this sized exactly right. And then I'm just going to save this as an SVG file so I can open it in Silhouette Studio. All right, then I'm going to open Silhouette Studio. And that's just so I could send this to my Cameo cutter. And then you just need to make sure this is set to whatever your settings are. I'm going to be cutting this without a mat, I think. So no mat. The vinyl's 12 inches wide. That's longer than 12 inches long, but that doesn't really matter. We're going to select everything. So you can do Control A, Command A, select everything, and then just move this up into the center. And then another thing I really like to do when I am cutting vinyl is getting a rectangle and drawing it around my entire design. Make sure you're not overlapping into the design or you'll cut into your design. And this just makes it so I'm not trying to peel from the edges when I'm weeding the vinyl. I'm not trying to go from the edge of my sheet of vinyl. It's easier to have a box in the center. And if I really wanted to, I could probably add some more weeding lines in between, but I think this should be fine. So when I click over here to send, it shows me what's cutting. And then I need to change this to glitter, heat transfer glitter. And this is going to add, all these settings here. And it adds a lot more force and things like that so that it cuts through the glitter. So we'll send this to the cutter. When I click send, it's going to give me the option to send mirrored. And I always want to send mirrored if I'm making a t-shirt. So let's send this to the cutter and then I can print this on a shirt. If you're cutting a new material for the first time or like a different type of material for the first time, it's really a good idea to send a test cut before you try to cut the whole thing. And I didn't set a test cut, so I had to go back and change my settings and get it locked in. So always send a test cut when you can. I weeded the vinyl off camera just to skip that step in this video since it's kind of tedious and the video went long on the design end. One of the things that I noticed using this vinyl now compared to when I originally tried it is that everything would want to peel up from the backing on the old glitter vinyl. The new adhesive on the backing sheet is really aggressive and it was really nice and easy to weed. Everything came up in one piece. So the Siser glitter is what I used for this one and it was really nice. You always want to give your shirt a pre-press before you put any vinyl on it. That's to release the moisture, and it's going to help your vinyl adhere better. This glitter presses for 320 degrees at 15 seconds, and then you're supposed to peel it warm. So I always just light everything up by eyeball, and that's always been good enough for me. So I put it underneath the press. You also need to make sure that you're using the proper amount of pressure. The instructions will tell you what type of pressure you need. This said medium. I used a little bit higher than medium, which I usually do. And once that it cooled down just a little tiny bit, I peeled the backing off of the transfer and it came out really nice. I think that this would have looked better on a darker shirt to have more contrast, but overall I'm really happy. And I'm definitely going to add this glitter to my Etsy shop.